Well, good afternoon, everyone. And as always, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today for another Webinar Wednesday. My name is Megan Santangelo, and today we are once again joined by Adam Gottheim, our Director of Product Success, and he will be diving into our ProCharge payment solution and be going over all of the moving parts that make up the product and can help you meet the needs of your merchants. As always, we have the chat and QA features open for you to submit questions you have. And we are joined by Zach Hooper, who's one of our product demo specialists, to answer questions as we go. So, Adam, if you're ready, I'll pass this over to you.
Thank you, Megan. Thank you, Zach. I appreciate your assistance today, guys, as we kick off another exciting webinar Wednesday. Um, I'm glad and thankful for all of you who have attended today. I've got a great ProCharge presentation in store for you, as always. Um, so buckle in, get ready, and hope you enjoy what we've got to offer today, wherever you may find yourself, whether it's freezing cold and snowy or warm and sunny. I'm glad you're able to join us and take some time out of your day for ProCharge, right? This presentation is one that I've always enjoyed doing, because it really highlights one of the awesome tools that we've had in our portfolio for some time now. Um, Today, as we discuss ProCharge in general, we're going to talk about what ProCharge is. We're going to take a look at the ecosystem, each one of the pieces to follow as being part of that ecosystem, the virtual terminal, ProCharge Mobile, ProCharge Desktop. I'm going to spend a little bit more time today talking about the ProCharge API as a newer development that we're starting to get out into the market, really opening up some flexibility in where you can offer this solution. We'll wrap it up in introducing the benefits of ProCharge and summary of discussion of the ecosystem, if you will. And then we'll try to open it up for some Q&A. Anything that you have as I am here presenting to you. As a reminder, Megan has brought up Zach Hooper, our product demo specialist, is sitting in chat waiting for your questions, and he'll do his best to address any and all questions that come through the chat. Once we get to Q&A as well, I will also circle back and try to pick up any that were unanswered, and address any new ones that pop up during that time period. So, and I appreciate everybody's time here today. Um, the presentation is going to have a little blend of old and some new. Obviously, some of you who have been to my ProCharge presentations in the past, it may seem very familiar and comfortable to you, but it's always good to reinforce that knowledge that you have. As you know, if you had joined me in the past, you may be in a completely different place now relative to your use and knowledge of the product. At the same time, we've onboarded a lot of new agents seeing this content for the first time. So it's important to set that baseline at the same time for them, trying to cater to everybody here. But I'm very excited to talk to you about the API here in a few slides. But first, we're going to kick off just a general definition of what is ProCharge. User-friendly technology, next-day funding, versatile payment options, flexible integrations. These are all features and functions that exist within the product. Through one way or another, we have this platform. ProCharge at its core is a payments platform, right? As we explore and start to look at the ecosystem in the coming slides, we'll understand the different pieces of that ecosystem and we'll talk about how they are important. But all of them offering simple, easy to navigate interfaces with very minimal learning curve, making it really easy to utilize, to train staff, to transition new businesses from existing solutions or transition businesses from pen and paper to very simple jump into technology, right? Technology can be scary for those coming from a pen and paper environment. And these tools that we have built into the ProCharge ecosystem help to simplify that transition for those types of merchants, right? Next day funding, really, really important to merchants. Um, I think we as agents understand, and working in the processing business, that next day funding is just a glorified sales pitch for a lot of merchants. But there are merchants out there that really think that this is super important. And we don't want to take away from that. We want to be able to support their needs and such, being able to provide them with their funds as quickly as possible, right? Helping to improve cash flow and operational efficiencies so they can continue to run their business successfully. We'll look at the versatile payment options as we explore each one of the pieces within the ecosystem. Support for credit, debit, ACH, e-checks, for in-person payments, online payments, mobile payments, invoice collection, text-to-pay type options. This is really where we're going to dive in and understand, the different parts of the ecosystem and which ones serve which type of payments. ProCharge is, I don't want to say it's one fit for all, but there's very many options as far as how payments are collected and how different businesses operate, that they may fit into one part of the ecosystem versus the other. So you won't even have to go outside of the realm of ProCharge to find a good fit for your merchant. You can spend time just within the platform itself to be able to find that good fit that's going to meet the needs that your merchant has relative to payment and collection and processing. Flexible integrations, seamless integrations with QuickBooks accounting software and custom APIs. I'm going to skim over the QuickBooks stuff today. Honestly, I've removed it from the deck, mainly because I want to spend extra time talking about the API today. But just so you know, we do offer integrations with QuickBooks accounting software, the desktop versions that are available. There is also an integration, which we'll touch on as well, that's part of the virtual terminal for QuickBooks Online, all of which are specifically outlined on our website, right? So if you do have a merchant that is interested in these tools and the integrations with QuickBooks, whether the online platform or the desktop version, you simply just have to go to our ProCharge website. Uh, each part of the ecosystem is outlined nicely along the top, and the requirements within will be found there, so you understand what versions are needed um, for that integration. But really, the flexible integration part that I really want to spend time on is the custom API, because this is a great opportunity that could add to your book of business or your portfolio that has not existed in the past for you here at Electronic Payments. So I'm going to spend some time talking about that today, and I find that to be more valuable than the QuickBooks integrations at this point. So let's jump right into the ProCharge ecosystem and introduce the four parts of the ecosystem that I want to share with you guys today, right? The virtual terminal and gateway solution, the mobile payment processing solution, the ProCharge desktop application, and the API that I've alluded to in my previous slide, right? Each of these make up the ProCharge ecosystem. Merchants out there can use one or many of the pieces within the ecosystem. They're not restricted to just one or the other. We have many merchants that use a combination of the virtual terminal and the mobile solution, the virtual terminal and the desktop solution, the API and the virtual terminal now as an opportunity, right? It really is just going to be focused on which one of these solutions that we will discuss in depth as we move forward today meet the merchant's needs in how they operate and collect payments, right? And we'll try to highlight each one of them as we go through, all of them having their own benefits, all of them having their own abilities, each with its own separate platform, if you will. Virtual Terminal and Gateway is a web hosted platform that you can run through any web browser. Mobile payments supporting Android and iOS. ProCharge Desktop, good for Mac or OS environments, and then the API is pretty much the sky is the limit for you, and we'll talk about that as we progress further today. But these are the pieces of the ecosystem that I want to go over with you. My goal here today is to make sure that you have enough information on each one of these by the time I'm done to go out there and be dangerous. And hopefully find merchants within your current portfolio that need a technology upgrade, or maybe unlock a whole new side of merchants that don't exist for you in your portfolio. As we go through each one of these, I'll try to give you examples of different types of businesses and different types of solutions that are using each one of the parts of the ecosystem so you can try to connect the dots and really try to learn from what we're covering today to, grow your book, right? Because that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. We want to make sure that you understand this tool sufficiently enough to go out and prospect new merchants, to go out and help your existing merchants, because handing that existing merchant a piece of technology like ProCharge is going to create stickiness. It's going to help retain that merchant. It's going to claw another hook into them in addition to what you've already got there so you can keep them, right? And you can provide them with the technology that you need to succeed at the end of the day, right? This game of selling merchant services isn't about rates anymore. It's been a long time since it's been about that. We are now focused on technology, and this ProCharge ecosystem that we have in front of us and that we're going to dive into as we go forward is going to allow you to learn about the technology that you can provide to help your merchants, right? To simplify their life, provide operational efficiencies, and allow them to conduct business seamlessly, right? So let's jump in. We have the first look here of our virtual terminal, right? Just a quick couple screen grabs. I'm not going to dive into a full demo of each one of these pieces. I may show off a little bit of the API and the endpoints that exist, but I do want to let you know that all of the topics that I'm discussing here today, you do as an agent have the ability to sign up for a ProCharge demo with our demo team. And you'll get lucky enough to land with Zach, Mike, or Ryan as one of our demo specialist, our product demo specialist here at Electronic Payments, and they'll be able to dive into these solutions with you so you can see hands-on what each one looks and feels like throughout use. Right here, we look at the virtual terminal, right? Where sales and refunds are processed, visual dashboard for reporting purposes, a listing of invoices, right? Um, but I strongly suggest to everybody looking to get in a demo on all of the pieces of the platform, mainly so you can see what it looks like, so you understand the ins and outs of everything. Here, I'm trying to give you a 30,000-foot view of the forest from the sky so you can learn just enough to be dangerous and understand if the ProCharge ecosystem will fit the bill for your merchants, right? So our virtual terminal, comprehensive online payment solution, support for reverse cash discounting and cash discounting, invoice creation and management, real-time reporting and real-time insights and reporting. These are all features that exist within the virtual terminal, right? If you have a merchant, right, that has the need to collect payments virtually, right, this is the answer for them. No EMV or chip card compatibility here within the ProCharge virtual terminal. So please understand that. If you have a merchant that needs that function, we need to look elsewhere within the ecosystem or outside the ecosystem. Um, the ProCharge Virtual Terminal is a web-based platform. As we read here, secure web-based interface for processing payments online without the need for physical terminals, right? Um, Key transactions. If there is a need for in-person transaction using the virtual terminal and it's not something that's done often, we can provide a MagTech reader that will plug into a USB port on the computer and allow for card present Stripe transactions, not chip. Okay. So we have the ability to collect those types of payments in office, Moto merchants, over the phone, mobile order, phone order, online orders where you need to key in card information, maintain customers, be able to have ACH functions, invoicing, as we talk about in this next bullet point, invoice creation and management existence. These are all different methods of collecting payments from customers. And if your merchant needs any one of these, then the virtual terminal is the answer for them, right? It's no, very little to no hardware unless they're using the MagTech reader here for in-person infrequent payments, as I call them, for the virtual terminal. But very little hardware requirements, right? You can essentially deploy the virtual terminal to a merchant and have them up and running very quickly, mainly because it's web-based. If they have a computer or a device that has access to the internet and a web browser, then you have a solution for them that you can stand up for them very quickly. This can be a primary tool for a merchant who uses this to run their business every single day, and at the same time can also serve as a backup. So if you have a merchant using a point of sale solution and you want them to have a backup in case that point of sale goes down, or they're having an issue with standalone payment terminal, or whatever reason they can't use their primary function point of sale or processing device, they can use the virtual terminal, and that can be stood up pretty quickly. I will always advocate to set up a ProCharge account for any merchant you have that may be using something other than ProCharge, Exatouch, Clover, whatever point of sale you may have in that location with us. Set up a ProCharge account so they have it as a backup. They may not use it very often. It's worth the $5 gateway charge to have it as a backup for them, and it will allow for, you know, seamless um, uptime. There's, a seamless transition to a backup solution as opposed to, scrambling in the heat of the moment and having to call support and have us do this, which we can do for you pretty quickly if need be. But it's always better to be prepared. Right, it's always better to be prepared, and the virtual terminal allows for that type of security, if you will. I just want to touch a little bit here on the invoice creation and management bullet points, right? Uh, the virtual terminal supports three different types of invoices that can be created. These invoices are one-time invoices. These invoices are recurring invoices. And the third type of invoice is the automatic one-time invoice. Each one of these can be created and paid either manually by keying in card information, collecting cash, or having a card on file or ACH set up to bill for the merchant's invoice or customer's invoice that's sent out. Invoices can be sent out via text, via email, with links, so customers can click on that relative link, navigate to our UPay portal, which is a connected solution, and make payment remotely, simplifying the process, improving those operational efficiencies that we talk about, right? Support for reverse cash discounting programs. I'd like to say that this is pretty self-explanatory. These are fee mitigation programs that help to reduce the processing costs for a merchant. We don't want to communicate zero processing costs because that's not a reality. Anybody doing so, I suspect. Um, these programs, these fee mitigation programs in place are to help to mitigate or reduce the obligation of processing costs. And ProCharge, specifically the virtual terminal, can support reverse cash discount and cash discount. And then you also get real-time insights and reporting. We kind of saw a screenshot of what that looked like previously before we jumped into the virtual terminal, recognizing the dashboard and also the baked in or fully integrated reporting suite that exists within the virtual terminal, allowing you to apply filters, look for certain transactions, find customer activity, all kinds of fun stuff. All kinds of fun stuff. The solution also comes with a highly customizable settings and preferences module where you can tweak certain functions within the virtual terminal. So if you need to, have emails sent particularly, or you want batch reports printed automatically or stuff like that, all tweakable within the settings. ProCharge Virtual Terminal does support multi-mid. It can support different staff logins with different permissions and access to each one of the tabs. So that way, if we need to deploy to a particular merchant type, we have the ability to do so. The virtual terminal again is good for those modo payments over the phone, over the internet, orders that we need to key in card information for, right? Graphic design studios that invoice people, even monthly membership clubs that want to send out monthly invoices or collect monthly payments for membership to people, all value this virtual terminal because they don't really have the need to collect in-office payments, right? Um, this is the virtual terminal, web-based, uh, over the phone, Modo type payments, invoices, customer management, uh, ACH options. If these are buzzwords that your merchant is throwing at you as you're out prospecting, it's a good chance the virtual terminal is going to be the right fit for them. Moving along, we're going to jump in next to ProCharge Mobile, right? ProCharge Mobile is a solution that we've had for some time. Recently, in recent years, we've added the support for EMV, and this is available as noted on iOS and Android, right? Mobile payment processing, right? If you're not a brick and mortar, you're on the road, you're at craft fairs, you're at flea markets, you have a pool cleaning business and you own a truck, maybe you do power washing, mobile dog grooming, just to name a few examples. If you have that element of being a wanderer in your business, or your merchant has that element of being a wanderer in their business, almost nomadic, if you will, ProCharge Mobile's the right answer for them because they don't have that brick and mortar. Um, the solution offers signature capture and tip prompts, can handle a basic menu. I don't want to present this as a solution for, getting crazy with modifiers and, different restaurant features because it's not that. But if you have a simple food truck and you just prepare things as is for people, maybe I want 3 tacos, maybe I want nachos, maybe I want chips and salsa, maybe I want a cheeseburger as is, we can put a basic inventory list into this solution and process payments in that environment as well. The signature capture and tip prompts help to support those types of verticals, right? Offering a full feature set in a mobile format, supporting EMV, contactless payments, swipe transactions using our mobile card reader. Really nice addition. It's a Bluetooth mobile card reader. It allows for flexibility. It's very similar to other solutions like this that you will see out in the market. If your merchant's using Square, or the little PayPal reader, uh, you know, this could be a good solution for them, especially for the pricing of the processing that comes along with it. The addition of EMV was huge for ProCharge Mobile, right? Not just because we needed it to bring this product into the current century, but at the same time, it allowed for the lowest processing cost to be applied to transactions when processed through ProCharge Mobile because of the ability to take chip cards, right? It's a Bluetooth card reader that connects with the phone or through the application that we deploy for either iOS or Android purposes. So if you have somebody that likes their Samsung Note or somebody that likes their iPhone 16 or 104 or whatever number they're on now, we could support that with ProCharge Mobile. We talked about the ability to easily integrate with inventory. The invoicing feature is also in existence on the mobile side, right? So what's nice about ProCharge Mobile, not only does it serve those that are 100% mobile and lack brick and mortar, but let's say you have a hybrid business that has a brick and mortar, but also has a mobile element. When I talk about this type of business, I think about like an HVAC company that's it's installing, servicing, cleaning air conditioning units. They have a home base, they have an office, they can collect payments using the virtual terminal, but they can also offer the option to collect payments on existing invoices while that tech is out in the field, right? HVAC is just one example, right? Water companies that install purifiers, lawn care companies, any kind of hybrid environment where there's a brick and mortar element and mobile aspect going on, we have the ability to support that particular type of business as well because the virtual terminal and ProCharge Mobile like to share data between each other, right? So you could very seamlessly create an invoice in the office, have somebody open that invoice on the mobile device and pay for it, right? We kind of touched on card present rates already as far as the EMV functions being a major feature add for ProCharge Mobile, benefiting from the lower transaction fees and card present payment methods, improving cost efficiencies for businesses processing payments in person, right? We did touch on that. It is something that has revolutionized ProCharge Mobile because for a very long time, we did not have EMV available, but recently added in the recent years, this is now a feature that is very, very helpful to people. We continue and we now take a look here at the ProCharge Desktop solution. ProCharge Desktop solution is a solution that has been around now for a couple of years. It is unlike the virtual terminal and the mobile application in that communication doesn't flow, right? If you are using the virtual terminal and ProCharge Desktop, they're pretty much, there's no communication between the two, right? ProCharge Desktop, as I like to communicate it, is on an island by itself. It does not understand if there's activity on the virtual terminal or mobile payment side or activity through QuickBooks or the API. It is just on an island by itself. Um, Everything kind of comes together these days with our Merchant 360 solution, our new Merchant Support Center, where you can find credit card processing from all different products that you use with electronic payments all in one place. But that is the extent of the cohesiveness or the synergy, if you will, between ProCharge Desktop and the rest of the products here at EPI. ProCharge Desktop was created to be a simplified payment processing solution. It has advanced features. It provides multi-device support, and it also has local and cloud-based reporting, right? Let's unpack this stuff a little bit. ProCharge Desktop is essentially a widget or an application, if you will, that can run in both the Windows and Mac OS environments and semi-integrates with a connected PIN pad or payment terminal, if you will, over the network, right? We initially deployed this solution to work with the PAX S300. I believe it is now using the PAX A35, semi-integrates over the network and allows a business to initiate a payment request to that customer-facing device from whatever computer they are sitting in front of, right? Over the years, I've often used my eye doctor as an example, right? When I go to my eye doctor, they could really use ProCharge Desktop. Right now, when I have to make a payment, there's a reception area. I go up front and they are sliding in their chairs from one side to get my chart, all the way back to their standalone credit card terminal, back over to the computer to check numbers, back to the credit card terminal to key stuff in, and then handing me that terminal. once the amount's keyed in, and then after sale is processed, they take the receipt, they go back to the computer, they enter it in, they then go back to my file. It's cumbersome. It's cumbersome. It's entertaining to watch at the end of the day, but it's cumbersome. Trying to run a business like that is not as efficient as it could be. ProCharge Desktop simplifies most of this because it allows that receptionist to sit at the computer that they're in front of all day, open up the ProCharge desktop widget or application, if you will, which is just a small little window that can remain open all day long. They can key in an amount and hit the sale button, and it will push that request to a payment device that's already forward facing, right? Um, Dentist offices are using this today, right? Car dealerships, the finance guys uh, utilize this solution, right? Each one of them runs their own ProCharge desktop application or widget on their own computer, and it allows them to push requests to that payment device sitting at their desk, not having to print out paperwork anymore and send somebody up to a billing desk just to run a credit card. It helps to simplify things for their operation, right? We do have people that are using, even though it lacks synergies, as we talked about, between virtual terminal and the ProCharge desktop solution. We do have people that are using the virtual terminal as well as the desktop solution, right? Because they have an invoicing element. Again, there's no communication between the two solutions, but it meets their needs, right? 75% of their business is in-office payments, which is what ProCharge Desktop is designed for. So they have that ability and can satisfy that need in collecting those in-office payments with ProCharge Desktop. They are chip EMV certified payments. So again, just like using the mobile app and EMV, they get the lowest possible rates on those transactions that they're running. The devices that we do deploy support NFC, which means that the customers making payments can utilize their smart devices to process payment there, right? We talk about the advanced features a little bit, introducing the concept of sale. Void is a function that exists. Refunds are functions that exist, all integrated into the application, making it easy to process transactions, right? Uh, ProCharge Desktop is like a glorified standalone terminal that's driven from the computer, as opposed to having to do it on the terminal itself. It supports cash discounts in the sense um, that we have the ability to apply a fee to an order, right? And pass that fee to the card that's charged. And if cash is used, then obviously that fee is not in play here, right? Offering those cost savings and fee mitigation programs that we've talked about. Multi-device support. This allows businesses to use multiple terminals simultaneously, providing flexibility for larger businesses that need multiple checkout points, right? Let's think about a shared office space where they have a common receptionist, but there's four different doctors or practitioners or businesses under one roof, and everybody goes to the receptionist to check out. We can plug in four different payment devices, one for each business or element with under that roof, and we can push payments appropriately to a uniquely named device in the application and have that particular payment fund to the correct account based on the device selected, right? I think today we can support up to 16 devices connected to one ProCharge desktop application. Um, I mean, it's pretty powerful, right? Think about a dentist office where they have three exam rooms and one reception area. You could have a payment device in each one of those exam rooms. You can have a payment device at the reception area, and you could push requests back to each one of them. As long as those devices are all on the same network as the computer, you could push payment requests back to each one of them, allowing customers to pay from exam rooms or the reception area, all driven from one computer. Uh, we have our local and cloud-based reporting for the solution. Each instance of the application installed generates a local report, and it saves it automatically to the computer in which it is connected to. and it allows a merchant to help reconcile batches. At the same time, the emailed cloud-based report that generates can be scheduled to go out at a given date and time every single day, typically, and that will be a combined batch style report for all stations in use connected to that mid. So the example that I gave earlier, the car dealership that has the ProCharge desktop applications at each one of the finance guys' desk, they have 11 stations, right? They have 11 different unique applications running at each one of their finance team's desk. Each one of them has their own local report on that saves to the computer automatically. And at the end of the day, anybody who needs to get it will get the emailed batch report for all grouped activity, right? Really simple, really easy to use. And then again, we talk about Merchant 360, where the reporting is also available online, right? Keep this in mind as a solution for all of your merchants that need an in-office payment solution and need EMV. ProCharge Desktop is a very flexible, very easy to use solution. When we developed this product, we really tried to do so so that it could be self-sufficient, right? Not that we're not here to help. We're always here to support you guys and your merchants, but out of the box, you should be able to follow the included instructions, wiring diagrams, links to our YouTube channel to figure out how to download the application, how to install it, how to sign into the application, how to launch the application, how to process sales voids and refunds, and how to check reporting without picking up the phone. And our second merchant that we've ever deployed to with this product, going back almost 6 years now, was able to do these steps without picking up the phone to call us, right? Um, and again, it's not that we don't want to help. We're here. If you want us to hold your hand and you want us to be there to walk your merchant through these steps, we're glad to. But we really want to create self-sufficient merchants that don't need to bother you or us in simple matters such as this, right? It really does speak to this first bullet point about ProCharge Desktop, it being a simplified payment processing solution. It is that simple. It is that simple that our merchants are have been given the tools to be self-sufficient to do this themselves. You know, honestly, the most complicated part is probably making sure that everything's on the same network. But there are steps and it's very, very clear explanation of how to do this in our documentation that goes out with the deployment email from File Build when you sign up. So just so you know it's there. Just so you know it's there. Next, again, I'm super excited to be able to talk to you guys about the ProCharge API, right? This is a tool that really brings ProCharge into, uh, you know, the current century, if you will, right? Um, Here, you just get a screenshot of some of these endpoints. I'll share that with you here in just a moment. But the ProCharge API is a very, very powerful tool, allowing access to the ProCharge platform, but in whatever form your merchants may see fit, right? Providing access for desktop, iOS, Android, and web-based apps alike. This will compete with the likes of other APIs, payment APIs that you may be familiar with, right? We have others that we have access to, but we want to keep things in-house. We want people to use our products. You know, we don't want to send them to auth.net. You know, we don't want to send them to USAE Pay if we don't have to. We want to keep them within the fold. We want people utilizing the ProCharge API for customizable solutions that they may be developing, right? What does that mean? I have an agent right now that's got a development team building a solution that's going to compete with Shopify, right? And they're using and building it against the ProCharge API, right? It's it's something very well put together and easy to utilize with the proper knowledge of development, obviously, right? I wouldn't expect you guys, and I say this, myself, I don't have the knowledge that it takes to write and build and code applications. It's not my forte, right? Um, but there's developers out there that do, and the API is being proven today, right? We've been using this internally for some time, and we've really spent a lot of time working on the forward-facing documentation for all the endpoints that exist. What I need you to take away from this, don't be afraid to face a merchant that needs custom development stuff going on. You don't have to do that development work for them, right? Most of the time, when an agent has come to me and asked me if we have a solution, I will always lead with the ProCharge API. It may not be the good fit, right? But again, we have other APIs that we can look at, and we have access to other gateways through APIs that we can look at if need be. But I always now am leading with the ProCharge API foot because it's very functional and it's very well documented and easy to use, right? Again, if you're out there and you're prospecting a merchant that needs or is building their own custom tool, whether it be to reiterate desktop, iOS, Android, or web-based apps, think about the ProCharge API. You may not know enough about development to understand if this is a good fit, but we do, right? Set up a discovery call. You can reach out to the demo team. They can guide you to the proper channels to have that discovery call set up. It's usually with myself, and we can understand what the merchant's trying to accomplish. I know what questions to ask them. And if you sit on a couple of these calls with me in discovery of whatever merchant is in front of us, you too will soon learn what questions to ask, right? Because we just really need to know what are their needs? What kind of app are they developing? How are they accepting payments? This is a solution that excites me, right? ProCharge API is going to be available for all of these custom development works, right? And it's cool because it's on the merchant's own timeline, right? It's not like you're having to wait for a system to deploy and a menu build to get done and training to be completed. The merchant has a development staff, hopefully, that they rely on to build out their applications in whichever platform they're developing against and have access to the API to do so. Once they get into that depth and once they get to the point of developing, we have accessible developers for them to answer questions as well, right? The agent that I know is working through this to build a competitive solution against Shopify today. We're working on setting up a call with Dev because they're getting ready to go live with 3 merchants today, right? And they just want a sanity check. They want to make sure that based off of the work they've done with access to this API already, that everything is looking good. The API itself has test credentials within, so you can run tests from a development environment. It really is a tool, as noted here, that is tailored to business needs, right? It's here to meet the needs that an out-of-the-box solution, like an existing point of sale or virtual terminal or, a web-based app may not have, right? This allows the merchant to work with developers to fully customize and create a solution that meets every single one of their needs, right? Obviously, that's going to come at a cost to the merchant, right? They're going to have to pay a developer to do that for them, but this tool allows us to provide them a solution for payments included in that solution, right? And they can build it out against this API. We kind of touch on dedicated developer support already. I do want to take a moment while we're here. I'm just going to drag this over and share with you guys the API, right? It's a simple web-facing API. Obviously, you always want to start here with the README. Definitely don't skip over this because it sets expectations appropriately for the developer, right? And, obviously you see here different protocols, um, access tokens and all of the things that you need to develop. right? We've had a little bit of a screenshot of this, the different endpoints that exist. You see Sigma here, right? It's coming. It's coming. It's going through some final testing before we can launch a version supporting Sigma with the ProCharge platform and in the API in general. Batching functions, ACH functions, payouts, refunds for ACH, invoices, e-gift cards, right? All of this is available to merchants that want to do some custom development work for their own platform. It's here. It's here. And it probably, like I said, is the most exciting thing that I have to share with you guys today because in the past I've just kind of glazed over it. But it's, we're getting ready to go to market very soon with 3 merchants that are utilizing this solution. Bring us your custom development work. Reach out to our POS demo team and let them know that you have an opportunity with a merchant that wants to do some custom development. They'll get you to the right places so we can get you to the point where you have this tool in your toolbox, right? These are the pieces of the ecosystem, right? Understanding that, and we've kind of touched on all of these benefits already as we talked about each one. Your cost efficiency, enhanced cash flows, security and compliance, flexibility and scalability, and real-time reporting and analytics exist within each one of the different pieces within the ecosystem, right? It's maybe in some different way, shape, or form. But as you're having discussions with your merchants, not only do you need to understand the types of payments that they're collecting so you can determine the best fit within the ecosystem, but these are the benefits that you want to communicate when you're talking to your merchants about these platforms. These are the things that you want to really make sure that you're driving home with your merchant when you're out prospecting. Talk about the cost efficiency, the lower transaction fees, the service fee and cash discount programs, the no hidden fees part, right? All benefiting from EMV, the different fee mitigation programs that we offer, the very simple gateway fee that's charged, a lack of not having to buy expensive hardware like a full-blown point of sale system, right? The most hardware heavy product we have within this ecosystem is probably ProCharge Desktop, and we're talking about required payment terminals. You can have the option to purchase printers and network switches if needed, but out of the box, just some payment terminals. That's probably the heaviest product that you needs hardware in this ecosystem, right? We talked about next day funding and seamless reconciliation through the reporting tools that exist, whether we're talking about the local reports, the emailed reports for ProCharge Desktop, the full suite of reports in the virtual terminal, the quick glance reports that exist on the mobile side of things, right? All of this becomes available through the ProCharge virtual terminal, through the mobile payments application, through the use of the ProCharge desktop tool and the API. It is the product is PCI compliant. It offers tokenization and encryption, and it also has fraud prevention tools within to help security and compliance. Flexibility and scalability. We talk about multi-channel payment solutions and scalability. I mean, if the ecosystem and the different pieces within didn't drive that home, I've done a poor job here today. And then real-time reporting and analytics, which we talk about, transaction monitoring, comprehensive reporting, and performance tracking. All of these are the benefits that we're pitching, right? These should be clear. These should be clear. As we talked about each one of the pieces within the ecosystem, if you're describing them and you're explaining them to your merchants effectively, what their capabilities are, what their limitations may be, how they can meet the needs that the merchant has in running their business every day, these benefits should speak for themselves. But just in case you want to highlight them for your merchants, you have them. You understand what they look like. You understand how they come into play and how you can communicate these effectively to help win business over for your merchants. With that, I'm going to take a sip of water and a breath, and I'm going to open things up for any questions. I'm going to take a peek at the Q&A in the chat and see if there's any that I need to address there. So Lynn has asked, where can we find the developer docs to share with merchants who have custom apps? I'm just going to drop the link here in chat for you guys so you have it. Um, And this is going to be the link that you guys can utilize. Again, there's some test keys in here. As you look at everything, oh, I'm going to try that again because I dropped it just to the host and panelist, and you guys don't need it. I'm sending it to everybody now. Okay, there we go. Um, so you guys have that. Do I have any examples of what you've been able to connect via the APIs? So Nick, thank you for your question and your attendance today, like we've talked about. Um, right now our first merchants are looking to be a part of this tool that is being built to replace Shopify, right? But this can be used for anything, any web-based app, whether it's a virtual terminal that a merchant wants to build. This can be used for a desktop application, like a point of sale, if you want. There are a lot of opportunities here. If it's yeah, it's relatively brand new, Nick. It is brand new. Like I said, we've been using it for a while internally for different functions that we've built out to help simplify operations on our end. But it is a brand new tool that we have available to you, right? And hence why I'm super excited to be able to share it with you. Um, this is different than the older auth.NET emulator. I don't know if that's still a thing, honestly. I can try to find out for you and I'll let you know. Um, how do we compare to QuickBooks payment processing? Merchants that use them for convenience. How easy is the integration to QuickBooks? I mean, Thomas, I'd like to think that we are night and day compared to QuickBooks payment processing. They are not a payments processing company at their core, right? They are an accounting software company. So, it's not their core competency. Payments is what we do, right? Um, the integration setup is pretty easy. It's about downloading a plugin. Um, it's there for you. It has the ability to be able to plug into the desktop version, essentially allowing you to create invoices and process the payment on the ProCharge side instead of using their processing. Rate wise, I don't know if it's going to be competitive, because there's still card not present. So, rates will be relative. So keep that in mind. Feel free to schedule a demo and the team can dive in a little bit further for you, Thomas. And I thank you for your question and attendance today. Chuck, can you describe the setup typically utilized in dental practices? Oh, Chuck, that's a toughie. I mean, it's completely relative, right? It really depends on how that current dental practice is operating. Um, if if the merchant is needing in-office payments, I would go ProCharge Desktop all day long, because they want to take EMV payments in office, right? I would definitely keep that in mind, as well as if they are a practice that uses invoices, then the virtual terminal is the solution. Whereas if they're doing a little bit of both, they may benefit from both of them, right? I would strongly take a look at scheduling a demo so you can dive into the nuances of each, get a demonstration of how the virtual terminal works. If they don't have a chargeback problem, it may be the virtual terminal that works for them too, right? That's the big thing with ProCharge Desktop. It provides EMV payments and therefore helps with chargebacks because you're taking card present chip sales through a payment device versus, the virtual terminal where it's typically not chip sales and they're magnetic stripe cards, which can be, charged back, and there's not a lot of protection there for the merchant. So. Definitely schedule a demo so you can dive into the features relative to dental practices. It really comes down to how they're accepting payments, to be honest, right? That's really going to determine which is the best path for them. How do I compare and contrast to Biller Genie? That's going to be a better question for a demo. I don't want to get into that too much. If there's something particular about Biller Genie that you're looking for within ProCharge virtual terminals, schedule a demo and talk to the demo team. They'll be able to help you with that. Um, Mark, Chuck, actually, before I go on, thanks for your questions and attendance today. Mark, any idea of the cost on QuickBooks Online desktop? Um, no, no. First of all, those are two separate solutions. There's QuickBooks Online as one solution, and then there's QuickBooks Desktop as another solution. If you're asking for the cost to integrate from our side of things, it's just the gateway charge for, that's $5 a month. As far as the cost of those solutions independently outside of the processing, I have no idea. But I do appreciate your question and your attendance today as well. Thank you. Let me pop over here. I think there's Q&A. I don't know if we've got them all. Just browsing, just browsing. We talked about that one. I answered that one live. I don't see any that I've missed, Zach. Any that you can see that I've skimmed over that I need to address here. I thought I had saw one. I don't know if it was a chat or a question directly, but I think their question was regarding oh, Jim, why don't we have a chip reader in 2025? Jim, great question, and I could see that that looks like Zach had answered that for you. I do want to touch on, this is why we've added the EMV reader to the mobile application, and this is why we've developed ProCharge Desktop because it does provide that solution to merchants for in-office payments, right? As far as bringing everything together under one roof, we have had discussions internally of what the future of that looks like, whether or not we add features and functions to ProCharge Desktop, or whether or not we add features to the virtual terminal to support a semi-integration. It's definitely something we've been having discussions about. But I do thank you for your question and attendance here today. Hope everything is well for you and yours. Um, and I think those are all the questions that I can get to in the time that we have allotted. So I thank everybody for their time and attendance. If you do have questions that were unattended to, or you would like more details, please make sure you reach out and book a demo with the POS demo team so you can really dive in deep and learn about all the great features and get a hands-on demo of our ProCharge ecosystem and the solutions within. With that, I will say thank you guys. I appreciate your time, and I hope everyone enjoys the rest of their Wednesday.
Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Zach. We really do appreciate your time. Next week, we do have a roundtable discussion coming up, and we have one last webinar scheduled for March, which will be presented by Christian Ortega and Matthew Finland regarding data cap and EPI as well. And just one last quick reminder, the Northeast Acquirers Association is rapidly coming up, and we will be in Atlantic City March 18th through the 19th. So if you're in the area, feel free to stop on by and we'll be there. But as always, Adam, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it. Zach, thank you for hopping on as well. And I hope everyone has a great day.
Thank you guys. Appreciate your help.